What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over none other than Play TCG Nash Fest Regionals Top 16 breakdown. Well, might make it top 15 because one of their decks they don't have, and that was the 12th place. But we're going to look at all the amazing top 16 decks and talk about it. So without further ado, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you. So amazing breakdown. Actually, I gotta give credit to Eagle X Gaming. He's a YouTuber as well. He seemed to gather all this information for Play TCG's Nashville Fest. So looking at it across the board, there was 33 counts of Crossheart, Melga X 23, Jessamon 16, Grandis at 16, Black War Greymon Gaiomon 15, other for 12. I don't know what the other is. Magnamon X for 12, Setcon for 11, Imperial Jamon for 9, Dark Knightmon at 8, Mastemon 7, Minervamon for 7, Alphamon for 5, Bloom Lord for 5, Blue Flare for 4, Yellow Red Hybrid for 4, Reaper for 4, D-Brigade for 3, and Belltastar for 3. So things we have to take into account here is that this is going to be very interesting to see after next week. It's going to be a little bit before we actually get to EX3. They're not allowing any major events in the Ultimate Cups next week for the EX3 format. So it's good to know like what we're going to see. So hopefully we get there, boys and girls. But it looks like Belltastar took first, Grandis took second, Melga X took third, Crossheart took fourth, Grandis took fifth, Melga X took sixth, Crossheart took seventh. 8th was Melga X, Grandis 9th, 10th Grandis, 11th Grandis, 12th Grandis, Crossheart for 13th, 14th, Grandis for 15th, and Alphamon. It looks like everybody's shifting over to the Grandis deck, which is funny because it's really only got a couple cards in this set, which really pushes it ahead. I mean, one Digi rookie basically sets it ahead, apparently. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So let's full screen this. First off, the Belltastar list. So this card, we already know what it kind of does. The list kind of focuses on playing 7-cost options, which really does help out. The thing that might be really interesting for a lot of players is the Plasma Decker Draw Launcher. So the Plasma Decker Launcher is basically here to bounce the insecurity, though. This is really in here to hopefully you having, 6 instances of Cocytus Breath insecurity. You should be able to deal with most threats. But another option is returning one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon to its owner's hand. Not bad when you get to play it for free. So it works that way. Things that I noticed was, I'm surprised no Howling Crusher, but being able to bounce a threat, especially Crossheart, removing it back up, or even dealing with, Grandis, bouncing that up, can lead to being a definitely win there. So I see where they're coming from. 2 Death X is kind of standard here. The Sistermon Blanc is a new interesting tech, but it's not surprising. They were starting to use it in JP, and being on play, trash 1 card from your hand to draw 2 helps speed up your deck a little bit faster because you get rid of some text there. The big issue is that they're going to be slimming down on Calling from Darkness now. There's not going to be a way of cycling this in starting next week, so that's going to be a big issue there. But outside of that, you got Devi, Ogremon to extend your play, speed it up. We know Eismon Scatter Mode, Gabumon, Devi Mirror combo is just kind of just a staple nowadays. Just draw a bunch of times, spit out the rest of the cards you don't need. And then you have like Psychmon here for reducing play costs to deal with Death X's, or even Crossheart itself, or any of the cross shenanigans they're going to try to do. Gaze is just Gaze, shutting down any memory game. But outside of that, we kind of know what Belltastar does. So definitely a great deck. Fly Bullet F3 is not a bad call. And the next card next deck we're going to look at is next deck we're going to look at is Grandis. So let's get this leveled out. So the Kukuamon here is the new kind of add-in. So your turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain a memory. This allowed you to climb up a little bit better because the only other option was a 1-cost evolve, and that would pass turn and just really create bad numbers. But with this card here now, being able to, let's say you put this down on the stack, you can digivolve up on this, giving you more advantage to climb up, which is really huge, and that can lead to being some game wins there. But what I'm noticing is the Pumamon was a very powerful tech in Bt-10. Players can't play Digimon by effect. This helped counteract the tamer effects that would play, like the Dorulamons, Dorulamon and the Ballistamons from those effects. So that really did help out weaken down the deck because now their tamers aren't plussing them, and that really does help out slow them down. Outside of that, with generic 1-cost evolves, and then, Akuamon promo being Akuamon promo, Grand Kuaga, Grandis Kuaga. We know the combo here. It's just Digiburst out, get 2 checks in, and just really apply pressure to your opponent. And then having Mimi just to speed up, just to get that rookie out. Next deck was for 3rd place, Melga X. So out of the ordinary here, nothing too crazy until you start looking at the Mega lineup. First off, you have Magnamon X Antibody. This is probably for the Crossheart matchup to slow them down, and it's a really smart play, especially with Death X being able to control board and stuff like that. So both plays are very acceptable because you're going to most likely have an X Antibody underneath this, but you also have Omnimon X Antibody here who can close out games by himself. Did you maybe need one more attack in there? Well, when you Digivolve in with that Metal Garurumon X Antibody, now you can at least force your opponent's hand a little bit more. And, being able to be a reduced cost for 2, so this becomes a 5 cost, is not a bad trade-off. Outside of that, it's a very generic list that isn't very different outside of its top end here, These 3 are really the uniqueness, I gotta say. Next deck we're going to talk about is the Crossheart deck. We already know what this deck is capable of just from how the deck plays, and that's on play, draw 2, end of attack. You blow himself up, hide everything else underneath, reuse, Taiki to basically put the sources back, spam them out again, do this a couple dozen times. As long as you have enough memory, it only should cost you 1 memory to do this play when you have all the sources, and then you get into ×5 for free, and then just punish the daylights out of your opponent by killing them. So all in all, just basic shenanigans that you're going to see. You have Sunrise Buster. Basically, the number of red tamers you have can lead up to being just crazy. Your red and yellow tamers just add up, and you just kill boss Digimons for 5. Ridiculously easy. And it gets ridiculous because if you play Akari here, you get to basically throw in a Dorulamon that could also help kill in a sooner method. But outside of that, it's just a very stock list. We already know they're going to create the Megazord and go from there. But they use Blinding Ray to help just get them there. Sometimes you just need that little extra couple of memory just to get you to that win. Next, we have 5th place? Yeah, 5th place, another Grandis list. Outside of the norm, we're going to see Palmons, Weedmons, Metal Kabuterii to Digivolve on top of the Kabuterimon to get you more sources that can be more OTK potential. Like I said, the Pumamon's in here just to slow down Crossheart again. But Electro Shocker is a nice option, actually, because return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner hand, trash all Digi-Evolution cards from that Digimon. So what helps out is if they hit this in security against Crossheart, bounces their thing, everything falls off. Or, better yet, return one of your opponent's, mirror match, Grandis Kuaga, bounce back to hand because it doesn't restand until the end of turn anyway. So, just really nasty being able to bounce it back and using Davis to basically draw you more cards and one Cool Boy to help draw when you Digivolve on top of your stack and reduce the cost, which is really nice. Next, we do have Melga X again. Very generic list. We know that it's going to OTK here through its ultimate line and just go wombo combo, murder you, you're dead if you don't have anything bigger than me multiple times. Very 9 out of 10, you're going to see that. But they are playing 2 Omnimon X Antibody, Really smart play here just to see consistently for a Blitz Omni, or just doing himself and then just winning for game that way. So just something to look at there. Next one is 7th place, Tyler Brown's Crossheart list. So let's take a look at it. Nothing out of the ordinary here. He is playing Kuriha because it gives you another like Taiki effect, which isn't bad. You know, that can lead to being some other shenanigan plays, and he's a memory setter, so you kind of get 2 out of the deal there. But Sunrise Buster at 2 is really interesting to me. It looks like he went just full on aggro and went for it. Not a bad idea, just really efficient way of killing. As long as you see ×4 enough, you can just win games that way. So I know Fireball and Crimson Blaze really does help out and gets you there. So worth knowing all the time. Next. Oopsies. Let's go back one. We have Magnamon X Antibody. This is very interesting. Outside of the norm here, most people got hyped from the Beamon because they thought Magnamon X Antibody is like the next big thing. So outside of this being like a very expensive card, the deck is very stock list. There's nothing too crazy. They teched in 2 Death X's, which is really basically the format, is you just tech enough Death X's. If they're not an OTK deck, you kind of just slam down 1 too many. And it's showing that it's too much of an unhealthy card. In my opinion, there should not be this much of a big boss Digimon out in most instances, but that is just me. So outside of that, it's a very generic list. I mean, you have Pyeldramon and Chimeramon for the Jogress for game status, which can really lead to being some good sauce there. Next, we do have another Grandis list, but it also teched in a Grande Soul. If you notice that most of these lists are kind of just generic in the bottom end now, it's Terriermon, Akuamon, Akuamon X, and Pumamon, and then splashed in maybe a few more rookies if they choose to. They'll tech in Palmon for jamming protection, but outside of that, it's either Splash Death X or Grandis option for removal. So, kind of very generic here. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. If you have 2 or more suspended Digimon, reduce the cost and activate its main effect. And that's just really nasty to be able to remove threats that way. So, all in all, great list. Great job getting 9th. Tab. Now, the 10th place is another Grandis. If you look at it, Akuamon. Surprised on the Mushroomon here, but okay. That 2-drop might just help them win game that way, so can understand that. Snymon, very interesting, especially if your opponent hits insecurity, that gives you another body they weren't expecting. So that could help out there too. Stingmon seems to be back and forth on lists, but when your opponent's Digimon is deleted by battle and survives, gain a memory. So you could gain 2 memory out of this and still get there. So Death X at 2, kind of expected at this point. Not surprising. Next deck. Ooh, 2 Grande Soul. No Death X, though. Oh, my goodness. Surprised. Outside of that, you know, we kind of just see this lineup again. 2 Grande Souls, 1 X Antibody. Okay. Works with it because if you don't have a Grand Kuwagamon underneath, at least you have X Antibody to go into. And, you know, the Mimi for game shenanigans is always there. So that was the 11th place. Let's go to 13th. Looking like Sunrise Buster and Crimson Blaze, 2 Death X. I mean, it's just a very stock list. The deck doesn't really have wiggle room. It has maybe like 2 to 3 tech spots, and that's basically it. There's no really evolving with the deck. Now, with the restriction list, we should probably see some evolving lists that way, but we'll have to see how that goes. So, next list, we have... Did I just skip? Or did we go? Yep, we skipped. So 14th, Fireball, just a mirror match. Everything else is very stock list. There's nothing to really talk about because we know what the combo does from the beginning of the video. Outside of that, nothing too crazy out of the norm here. So 15th, another Grandis. Grandis is just doing Grandis shenanigans. I love that they're starting to tech in Grande Soul. Most of these lists started to, and that's really cool. You know, the Pumamon is just kind of just the out there. But outside of that, just looking solid here. Pumamon probably is going to be more viable when ZX3 hits, just because of what it can do to all those Xamon decks, and any deck that just wants to play a Digimon by an effect really slows it down because you have to remove that first. So, just something to think about. And then the last hurrah for Alphamon. Sadly, it did not take first. It did get a 16th place, so Michael, great job. Great job. Giving you credit and prop here, especially since the restriction is going to hit you hard and this deck isn't as consistent and it doesn't have its OTK potential. So it's good to know how this is going. But we know what Alphamon does. It climbs up, spams in so much ridiculousness, and use Oriyumon to restand, get in multiple attacks. By even just using Yuji just from one Oriyumon to be two Oriyumons, if you can clear out 3 security massively that way, you're in a good spot. So, all in all, great lists, guys, for the top 16 breakdown. You guys did a good run. It looks like I'm going to say, see you later, CrossArt. See you later, Alphamon. It's been a pleasure knowing you. And, guys, this was the final hurrah. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know down in the comments, do you like me covering the meta decks and stuff like that? I could do this more often if you guys prefer it. It will be a later episode on top of the videos I make. But let me know down in the comments if that's something you would enjoy. So guys, remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!